They say study Spanish so that you can speak Spanish well. And this statement, although it sounds very logical, is actually completely backwards. In this video, I'm going to break down why this advice is holding so many learners back and maybe holding you back as well. What to do instead, and exactly how to implement this new approach today, even if you don't have a lot of time or anyone to practice with. This is the truth that so many of my students have discovered that has taken them from mere Spanish learners to actual Spanish speakers. And if you're new to me, hola, te doy una gran bienvenida. Me llamo Erika. I'm a former Spanish medical interpreter turned Spanish teacher and language coach, now living and loving life abroad here in Mexico. I help Spanish learners who are disappointed with the self-study courses and apps reach fluency through actually speaking. And if you're trying to figure out what to actually do each week to improve your speaking, I've got a free guide for you called the Spanish Fluency Blueprint. It's a step-by-step guide that shows you how to take real Spanish input, like a video, a story, or even a conversation, and turn it into something you can actually use in real-life speaking situations. You can find that at the link below or by going to ericareallanguage.com/blueprint. And I want to shift your mindset as well to, well, I need to study more Spanish so that I can speak Spanish well, to I need to speak more Spanish so that I can learn it well. So many learners get stuck in input mode only and never actually use their Spanish because they're waiting to feel ready. And because they're waiting to feel ready, they never feel ready, and they never develop the fluency that they wanted. Thinking you can become fluent in Spanish by consuming it only is like thinking that you can become a world-class chef by watching a lot of cooking shows. There are so many nuances that you're missing when you lack the experience doing the thing. You have to do the thing. You have to speak. The key thing that would push most learners over the hump and into speaking fluency is if they would, one, stop underestimating the importance of speaking and the frequency with which they need to be speaking, and two, stop being so incredibly afraid to speak. Now, obviously, speaking isn't the only thing you need to do. You need input as well. Without input, what in the world are you going to output? You need to read, you need to listen, you need to learn words, you need to get a feel as to how those words are put together. That is grammar. But let me tell you why doing the opposite of what most people do and putting your speaking first, front and center, will help you learn so much faster. It's really simple. So let's say that you've reached a certain level of Spanish where you're an intermediate learner. For example, you have quite a bit of words and you would really like to get good at expressing your opinion, talking about current events, debating respectfully. Maybe this is something that just comes up for you on an everyday basis and you find yourself completely tongue-tied. That's the first topic that came to mind because it's one of the recent ones that we covered for our level 3 students in my Camino's Conversation Club, where we get together and speak every day. That's a great goal, but you have to go beyond hoping that you'll get there someday, because if you just wait for it to happen naturally, you'll probably always be missing some of the vocabulary and, more importantly, the practice putting your thoughts in Spanish. So if you set that as a goal for yourself and then design a plan to reach it, you can shortcut your path to get there. So create a plan. Who are you going to talk to about this topic? Is it a coworker who's always bringing up these topics and you want to be able to respond quickly? Is it your uncle from Mexico? Who is it? Now you have a speaking focus and you have an idea as to who you would have this conversation with, at least to start. And now we can make a plan to start studying Spanish. Not before. You see, the speaking goal came first. Now we can start studying the vocabulary and the grammar and listening to relevant content to get us to that goal as fast as possible. You may start speaking out loud, trying to practice with yourself or imagining what you would like to say and finding the gaps. That's a good place to start. As you're trying to express what you want to say, you may realize you don't know how to say medio ambiente, inseguridad, sostenible. Just find the gaps that exist. As you go about, maybe you're getting some help, maybe you're looking up some phrases, you may come across things like, no creo que sea una solución efectiva. Sea. And you're like, I would have said es. And you realize that, okay, we need the subjunctive here in these types of phrases to say things like, es importante que consideremos todas las opciones antes de decidir. We have the subjunctive there again, consideremos. After that trigger phrase, es importante que. So you're like, oh, I'm going to need the subjunctive a lot to be able to express my opinions. And so that becomes your grammatical focus. Now you have your topic, your vocabulary focus, as well as your grammar focus. And as you then continue to listen to relevant dialogues and conversations on the topic, your brain is primed to pick up on those things because you've chosen them as a focus. And then you practice, and then you actually have that conversation with the person that you planned on, and probably many dozens and hundreds of people more in the future. And you're just going to get better and better each time. But trust me, it would have taken you so much longer to get there if you hadn't simply chosen it as a focus. And in the meantime, if you have no focus, what are you doing to make sure that you're progressing? What are you doing to measure your progress? But when you use your Spanish in a meaningful way like this, you retain what you learned so much better. Like our student in the Caminos Conversation Club, Michael, who said, I'm getting the practice and learning that I need more than any other online speaking situation I've tried in the past, like crosstalk with my Spanish cousins, online with fellow learners, no topic, no teacher, online with learners and a teacher, but no advanced materials, or speaking with AI. Using this method that we use and teach inside of the Conversation Club was a game changer. By the way, if you want a simple way to follow this method step by step, I've created a free resource called the Spanish Fluency Blueprint. It walks you through exactly how to turn a real Spanish input into usable speaking material, just like we're doing here, with specific steps, examples, and tips you can apply right away to any Spanish input that you're using. You can download it for free. I'll drop the link in the description below. All right, let's try this together. Here's the summary of the formula. Plan your speaking goal and who you imagine you would be speaking with. Prepare with relevant vocabulary, grammar, relevant input. Listen, read on that topic. Practice, put together some sentences on your own, and present in real conversation. Get the corrections and feedback that you need, and then present again and again until you feel confident about that topic and you're ready to move on to another one. When you do move on to another one, so much of what you learn from this topic will carry over. And that's how learning Spanish becomes easier and easier over time. It's so simple. So please do this exercise with me right now. Plan, set a micro speaking goal. Think about one topic that you wish you could talk about in Spanish. Make it appropriate for your level. If you are just beginning to learn Spanish today, debating on current events probably isn't the best topic for you right now. You may start with something very basic, ordering at a restaurant, introducing yourself. In the same way, if you are a more advanced student, challenge yourself to move beyond those beginner types of topics. It could be anything. Just look around you. Think about what you want to say. Are you eating something right now that you really like? Describe your favorite meal. Can you describe it to someone? Can you describe the textures? Can you describe why it's your favorite? That it's not even so much about the flavor, but it's about the fact that your grandma used to make this every Sunday. Just think of something that you would like to express and make sure that you have someone to share that with. Is it a friend? Is it a family member? Is it a neighbor? Sometimes, if you're having trouble thinking, what could my next speaking goal be? It's easier to start with a person in mind rather than the topic. So if you just picture your neighbor, Claudia, and you think, her daughter tells me she's been really sick lately. I think I would like to prepare a meal for her and take it over. And when I do, I want to be able to say something to her. I want to be able to tell her maybe what I've brought for her and that I really hope that she feels better. And that if there's anything that she needs, to please reach out. That's your next speaking goal. And do you really think that you're only going to use those words with Claudia and never again? No, it's just part of the cycle of getting you more and more fluent. So what is your next goal? It can be as basic as introducing yourself or as complex as debating about current events and beyond. Maybe it's your industry-specific niche that you need to be able to talk about. That is very specific to you. Make it a goal to be able to talk about those things. I can't give you those goals. Only you know what they are. Drop me a comment below to let me know what your next speaking goal is. Practice once you know who you're going to talk to, what you're going to talk about. Practice, come up with some sample sentences, get some help here if you need it. Look up unfamiliar words and then present, use it in a real conversation. This can be with a real person or even even in a simulated conversation with a language partner who's studying the same thing as you are. You'll make mistakes, and that's okay. And hopefully you have a way to get corrections, which is also something that's missing from a lot of language learners' routines. That in any case, you have spent very valuable time studying to create something that you can actually use, because you started with the speaking goal first, and then you reverse engineered your learning, and you will remember it so much better. Whatever your grammar focus was, you'll remember that grammar so much better than if you had just watched a random YouTube video about llevar versus traer and por versus para. Okay? Is this logical to you? Give me a like if this makes sense to you. That gives YouTube a clue that, hey, I should show this video to more people. And now the question becomes, how do I do this sustainably? Because I know it's hard to create this process from scratch for every single topic you want to learn, and then find the materials that you need for the input and a way to learn the vocabulary and break down the grammar, and then find someone to practice with. It's very effective, but I know that it's challenging because we have other things to do in our life, right? Besides learn Spanish, it's challenging to do that every single week. That is why the Camilo's Conversation Club was born, so that everything is done inside for you. It's a speaking first approach, but it's so much more than just a speaking club. We have entire courses inside to go along with your speaking focuses for that week at 3 different levels, so that you can choose where you fit in best. So we're giving you the topic, we're giving you the audio, the text, helping you break down key vocabulary and grammar, think about certain speaking prompts that we provide for you ahead of time. And then when you join the live sessions, which you can join up to every single day, multiple times per day if you would like, you're speaking with a purpose. And when the conversation does go off script, we love that too, because it shows that our students are developing the ability to go off script and speak about other things that just naturally come up in the conversation. There is nothing more rewarding to us than that. And as you speak, you get the corrections and the feedback that you need from trained instructors. So there's no blind man leading a blind man. And so our students are continuing to learn as a result of speaking, not necessarily just from studying more Spanish. You can check out the details at the link that I'll leave here on the screen. And actually at the top of that page, I have a short training. At the time of this recording, I believe it's 14 minutes long. And in it, I break down in more detail the 3 obstacles that may be holding you back from speaking, namely fear, a lack of convenient opportunities or time, or not having the right people to talk to. These are the 3 things that I consistently hear from learners as reasons why they aren't speaking regularly. So check out that page, check out that short training as well, and know that you don't have to figure it all out on your own. This is the easiest, most frictionless way to start speaking regularly, even if you're not ready to commit to something more intensive quite yet. You'll find that link in the description. I hope to see you inside. But speaking is just one half of the puzzle. What about understanding what your speaking partner is saying back to you? Watch this video next to learn exactly how to take your listening comprehension to the next level.
So I think before I had this much practice and this much regular daily conversation, I would be much more hesitant and psychologically more self-conscious of my Spanish. So I think just having the setting, the practice, the support of the instructors, which is wonderful, and really the community is great. All the learners are, without exception, very sweet.